Hello everyone! Welcome to Portuguese Real Estate 101. I'm Vitor. I'm a Portuguese real estate agent from Portugal door, and welcome. Today we're going to answer the question, are home inspections typically done in Portugal? And what to look out for when you are seeing a property. So to answer the first questions, home inspections, do Portuguese people do them? Usually not. Portuguese real estate market tends to be buyers beware. The seller expects that when the buyer makes an offer, they've already seen what they had to see to buy the property, and they're making an offer based on what they saw. So it's usually up to the buyer to do their own due diligence, right? So, can you do a home inspection in Portugal? Yes, absolutely you can. We work with several engineers and architects that, when necessary, they can go to a house on our client's behalf. They do their inspection, they do a report, they suggest improvements, and even sometimes quotes on how much the repairs would be, so you have a better idea from a professional eye on what to expect out of that property. And hey, if you're planning on buying a home for yourself, I recommend you do the same. Find someone in the area. If you can't find a specific home inspector, at least try to find an engineer or someone with competency in the area that would go to a property and do an inspection for you. There are also higher standard inspections done. There are people with X-ray machines that can see everything that's inside the walls, but that's besides the point. Point is, you can do it. Most people don't do it. However, I do hope that's a trend that will change in the future, because the more people know about what they're getting themselves into, in my opinion, the better it is for everyone involved. So, what are my 5 things to look out for in a property? Of course, there are many. So number 1, cracks on the wall. Now, there's a difference between cracks that might be an issue with foundations, and there are the normal cracks that pretty much every home that gets built suffers. They're minor, cosmetic, and that's from the home settling on the ground. Number 2, the roof. Is the roof waterproof? Is it old? Are the tiles decaying and rotting, and are they full of clutter in there? Sometimes it may be worth taking a look into that to make sure you won't have an expensive renovation down the line. Number 3, moisture. Now, it's important to notice if the moisture is coming from inside the property, if it's condensation from the heat, from the vapors and the water that are inside the house and get stuck to the walls or the ceilings, or if the moisture comes from outside the property, maybe a clogged pipe or a leakage or something wrong with the construction. Number 4, plumbing and electricity. So especially if the property is 20 or 30 years old, particularly in the more rural areas of Portugal, Portuguese people are very hardworking, and they used to build things as they went. Back in the day, they had their own family, they built their house, and then they had a new child or a grandson or something like that, so they had to expand their home, and typically homes were built by the owners or their families, and so things got built as they went on. And then when it comes to electricity and plumbing, it's important to make sure they conform with current quality and safety standards, because back then we didn't have as many appliances, we didn't use as much power, so the systems were built differently. And also it's important if the equipment is old, right? Sometimes it's important to renovate the cables, so that's something that I would pay attention to as well. And number 5, does the water flow into or out of your house? So this has to do with gutters, this has to do with the actual construction around your house. It's important to notice if your house is built and the road kind of leans into the house, when it rains, it might build up a lot of water in there, and it could lead to long-term or medium-term water damage, as the water is there constantly against the wall. So it's important to make sure that the water flows out of your house. The gutters don't allow your water to splash into your walls, because if you just have a roof and the water flows out, as it splashes on the ground, it may hit the walls and it can lead to damages as well. So those are the 5 things that I would recommend looking into when you're buying a home, and I would also recommend that you do a home inspection if necessary. Again, this is Vitor. Thank you very much for watching. You can find all of our details below, and thank you so much. I'll see you again next time.